Hi there guys, Darren Stevenson back with another video. I'm here, don't worry, my face is here. So what I wanted to do, like I promised, is to give like a talk about the new promo cards, world exclusives as they call them, that came out in the new megatins. These megatins you can buy online in my eBay store as well. I can put a link in the description. I think these are sold out now because these have been flying off the shelves. This one is still a couple of discs left. So let's take a moment to really appreciate the rarity first. Ooh, it's just like, ooh, so glossy. Take it out the sleeve there so you can like see. Ooh, it's so pretty. I like these cards, like in terms of the tins itself. I think the fact that they've given them like a different rarity print, as opposed to like last year's megatins where like they were just reprinting the same rarity, and like, but now that like they've been reprinted in like different rarities, I think it's just really cool because it means it gives you an incentive to like buy the packs because it's like it feels like a different card because it's like some are rarity bumps or some are like downgrades, so it's like the best of both worlds. So cards that were cheap you can get like look nicer, and cards that were too expensive like you can get like the downgraded version to save yourself some money. So it's really, really good. And in terms of these free cards, like, make the tin itself worth getting because these free cards are like so good. I think a lot of them will have their place in the meta for sure. What their impact will be, we'll probably see with the upcoming like regionals and with upcoming YCS events as well, such as like Ghent and YCS Niagara. And you'll probably see these particular cards probably like splashed like all over Top Cut decks and stuff like that. I think we've seen regionals decks posted from like South America and like America with these like cards like lingering around in the deck list somewhere, maybe main deck or side deck. So people are at the very least like trying them out and giving them a go, and they've already been showing some success because people have been getting like regional tops with these cards in particular. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend like a little bit of a session on each to talk about each individual card. So let's start with Dimension Shifter. So let's have a read and see what this card does. So it's called Dimension Shifter, Dark level 6, and it's a spellcaster effect monster. And if you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Until the end of the next turn, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So this is effectively equivalent to cards like Lancia, Abyss Dweller and stuff like that, which cards that have a lot of high impact on the format themselves. As we've seen last format, like Artifact Lancia, pretty good against like combo decks because like a lot of the utility Orchest has, you have to banish from your graveyard. And stuff like Chaos Dragons, like 11 Year and Eclipse Wyvern were shut down because they couldn't really do anything. This card is sort of equivocal because what it does is it banishes cards that are sent to the graveyard. So this is really cool because with the Orchest engine, it means that they can't stick their Orchest engine in the graveyard. So it means it's going to get banished instead. And why I think that makes this card better than Artifact Lancia is because when you Lancia Orchest, like sure they've been shut down for a turn, but they can still send their resources to the graveyard and they can set up next turn. Whereas this card literally says you can't have set up at all, which is like really, really strong and it's really, really impactful. And even has applications against like the control decks as well. So stuff like Sky Striker, since this is it any cards? It's just any cards as opposed to monsters. So it's any cards. So if you play this against a deck like Sky Striker, not only is it good against combo because they can't get in their engine, it also hinders the resources of like control decks as well, such as stuff like Sky Striker, because they want to set up spells in the graveyard to get the best out of their engage. And if you chain this to an engage, that means their engage is banished, so they can't recycle it. So it means that their grind is just going to be infinitely worse. And if you've got to wait, and this couples really well with like Ghost Ogre, because if they have multi-roll, I don't know why they'd probably activate multi-roll if they're under this, but it's just, I guess it's just a really bad example. Like if you manage to pop multi-roll while they're under this as well, it can get banished. That's probably actually a pretty poor example. But you can see the utility against Sky Striker because it just banishes the resources as well, especially if they normal summon a Ray. Or you probably have to shotgun this in case they do normal a Ray, and then they'll probably stop. So you probably have to be a bit more tactical about this, so you probably can't just do it on a Ray outright, because they'll just chain it to this. And against Salamangreat as well, just like August, a lot of their resources like are in graveyard. So this is probably going to act like more of a you have to pass turn now sort of card, which is still really strong, because it means if you're playing a control deck, you're going to like have the upper hand, you're going to like, this is going to replace itself when you draw for turn, so it means you're going to have 5 cards in hand to play into a control deck that hasn't even had setup. So this card effectively lets you go first, which control decks normally like to do because it forces them to pass turn. If they don't pass turn, they're going to make a very subpar board. If they do make a board, then if you're playing a deck like Sky Striker, you can just take their cards away and then set up your own like board and stuff, and then you've got the upper hand on the matchup. Same, and if you're playing a control deck, combo deck, and you have this in your deck, then it means you can just make sure the control decks don't do anything optimal, and then you can just kill them. So what are the bad points about this card? So it's until the end of next turn, which I believe means until your end phase as well. So that means, like, I think all your stuff gets banished as well, which can't be very optimal. So it's probably more likely to be used against like combo decks so they don't get set up. It has the restriction where if you have no cards in your graveyard, you can only activate it, so it's not a mid-game card at all. It's only a card that you have to hard draw and start with. So in terms of like utility that hand traps have, where you can have like a back and forth sort of thing, and like drawing into like Asher Ghost Ogre mid-game, it's still very impactful because you're trading. This doesn't really trade. This sort of, you have to hard draw this, and then you just ditch it, and then it's an effort to get the upper hand whenever you're playing like someone else's strategy. I'm not sure if this is going to see as many play as the other two. This is why I started with this one in particular, because of the restrictions it has, but I think it just completely depends on the meta shift. Like, I think if like Orcus is really popular, this is very strong against Orcus because it just forces them to pass and stuff, and it means they have to like throw away a lot of resources just to end on a crescendo or something like that. So it definitely has a place in the format somewhere, but if someone can truly optimize this and like use it at a time that would like have a high impact, then that would be really, really cool. So next up, it's got Dark Ruler no more. So this is a spell card. So negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Also, for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, your opponent takes no damage. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. So when you read that bit, you just think, oh Christ, this card's nuts. So this card is probably a card that's more suited towards combo deck. So you'll probably use it against combo decks. It's probably got a lot of utility in Sky Striker, seeing it's a spell, so it's one more spell engraved, so it can go towards. More likely to draw if you're engaged, to just go more plus on the combo decks. And it's really good because it stuns the board, you can remove all their cards, and combo deck typically puts a lot of resources into a board. So once they've put up that board, and once you out that board, their follow-up is really, really weak because their extra deck is just gone, and all they have left is like big hitters that they probably set up in the graveyard, such as like cards like Gizmek and stuff. But that's more manageable than straight up losing the game to a first turn board. And this card's just really strong, especially the fact that it says neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. So it's just a straight up bam, like a sort of super poly card, where if I have this, I'm probably going to win. The only drawback is it's just monster effects. This can be stopped like stuff like cards in the format, like you've got the Zephyr counter trap, the Pendulum can play, and you can also get stopped by Crescendo. But that's not the end of the world, because you can use other cards to like bait the Crescendo. Like if you're playing like a control deck, he could play some back row removal like Jamming Wave or something like that, and try and like bait the Crescendo. They could probably use like Hot Red or something to try and stop that, but at least you've baited a Hot Red with an MST. So it has some utility somewhere, and at the very least this can bait a back row, like a counter trap at the very least, which will allow you to make your plays. So Striker's got like a 6-card hand, and you've got like this and a bunch of utility cards. It's quite likely you can out the board, especially with this being a spell. It's just like, it has like high utility with Sky Striker in particular. So I think that Sky Striker players are probably going to at least try this card, because I think it'd be really strong. And it's probably going to be in a lot of side deck options as well, just because, like I said, it is like particularly strong. And the fact that it's like an alternative, it's just more copies of Mystic Mine, I think. Like, try and like bait the board until you can activate this, just like a Mystic Mine. So you go bait, 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 bam, and then you just like snowball from there and just try and like take them out. Last but not least, my personal favourite, which is why I left it all last, is Nibiru, the Primal Being. So I thought this had Meteor in its name, so I just keep on saying Meteor to people. We're gonna beat my meat. So this is a rock level yeah, I can't count, 11. Light, is it 11? Christ, it's got a lot of stars. And it's during the main phase, if your opponent normal or special summons 5 or more monsters this turn, quick effect, you contribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and special summon 1 primal being token, rock light level 11, attack and defense question mark to your opponent's field, and this token's attack and defense becomes the combined original attack and defense of the attributed monsters. You can only use this effect of Nibiru the primal being once per turn. So as you can tell, this card is pretty ridiculous. Like, you can just like hold it. Like, typically in, I imagine, control decks will be playing this, it's like part of their hand trap lined up. You can just hold this in hand, let them do their entire play, let them take away your cards. Like, if you were going first, for example, this is still not so bad. If they like take your board away and then they put up a board, you can just go, here you go, have a nice rock boy. Can't see it like being like around in the main deck because of decks like Sky Striker, and there's probably a lot of more control, which just doesn't really have a huge impact on. So it's probably going to be more of a really high impact side card, which is probably going to be the first 3 side cards that people are going to put in their side deck, because it just says GG to combo. Like, what? It's not an awful lot that combo can do. Like, I've been rattling my brain how on earth I can make combo decks work with this being in the format, and it's just like really, really hard. Like, a lot, it just feels like you just proper L to this. Like, you just straight up just get decked. Fun fact though, I was playing a game and setting doesn't apparently count towards that, and that mattered. So this card is just like really, really ridiculous, and the fact that like R&D managed to print something like this and think of something like this is just crazy. It's so good. I think it's single-handedly, like, it's one of those cards that just shakes up the meta, where you have to try and adapt a combo deck to this, so you can maybe sort of like make a sub board so then you don't like lose to it, and try and make a combo of only 4 summons. But as we're all aware, with the amount of link spamming that like combo decks do, it just doesn't seem optimal at all to only try and like dish out enough damage or even combo in under 5 special summons. It's just not realistic, and a lot of the time if you have to make a subpar board and they don't have this and then they out it, then you're going to just lose to that as well. So I think a lot of the time you're just going to have to combo and just take the L of this, and if it just happens. But it doesn't really feel very good having to just accept that you're going to lose whenever this rock dickhead just gets like chucked on you for like no good reason at all. And the only drawback I can think of is if you're playing Sky Striker, it's not optimal to have this summoned to your board because of the way your engine works, how you can't activate your spells because this is here. But you can clear it with stuff like Area Space and multi-roll. Multi-roll being at 1 makes it a little bit more awkward, and it just feels like it's more of a high impact get wrecked card against like combo. It seems like this is a very no, we don't want combo in the format anymore sort of card. Let's just play nice little striker mirrors. So maybe it's going to act more of a deterrent. It's going to see play for sure, but it's probably going to act more of a deterrent to shape the meta. So combo deck is probably not going to be seen as much, and we're probably going to see more of a control type sort of meta. And I've seen like at the Brotherhood Open, and not the Brotherhood Open, is it called the Brotherhood 1K or whatever? There was a lot of Orcus in there, sort of like a mid-range sort of control deck that can OTK, so it doesn't like take the L to this, because it can still like make plays when it gets like this. But decks like Thunder Crusadia, if it gets whacked by this, if it just goes, here's a rock, you just straight up just die. There's not an awful lot you can do with that. And there's ways to bait it, like you can bait it with like stuff like Agapane, or like and you've got to like do it in the Agapane in case of something Crystal Wing. You can put all your resources into a Lapalooza before your combo, but again, it just doesn't seem realistic, because even if like you scare them with Agapane, they're going to just chuck this on the board, and there's no way to do Agapane in under 5 summons, annoyingly. Trust me, I've tried, and this just gets bopped. And then after that, even if you've still got the rest of your main phase to play, you've just lost all your resources because you're at the Agapane LP stage, and it's just rough. It's really rough. And then even so, you can end on like a half-decent Orcus combo, but then it's just not enough when you're playing like decks like against like control decks like Sky Striker that have a lot of 1-card pushes, and if you're playing against Orcus too, they have a lot of 1-card pushes as well. So this card is rough. I really want to play a combo, but I just don't want to get extinct. Well, thanks for watching, guys. So these are the promos. Probably one of the best promos we've had in a tin set for a while. The last best one was probably the one with like Supermax Season and stuff. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these promos. Which one's your best? Which one's your favourite promo? And don't forget the ones that you can also... Don't forget these promos as well. that you can get in the megatin as well, such as stuff like Blue Eyes Ultimate, and you've got like Zodiac cards. Forgive me, this is very unprepared. Magician of Black Chaos Mac. You got Monster Reborn, which is a really good one, and you got the Neo Kaiser Glider, Obelisk, the Bear, Rigeki, Alternative Black Dragon, Slifer, and the Winged Dragon of Chicken. So, which one's your favourite? Doesn't have to be one of these three. It can be one of these lovely ones as well. So, yes, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below which one's your favourite. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And check out my eBay on Derry Jamstin. And that'll be it for me. I'll do another video tomorrow or the next day on what I think my top 5 favourite rarity bumps are from this new set. So I'll see you then. Cheers guys, bye bye!